Tears for the Tear God, Salt for the Salt Throne, and Gas the Leaf Tribe.
It's as I suspected. We're not hearing outrage from the left. We're hearing excuses. We're hearing whataboutery. We're hearing, oh, forgiveness. Stunning and brave of him to apologize. And we can all learn from this. We're hearing the dismissal and reducing of it by calling it face-darkening makeup. And we're hearing a literal sock puppet just flip the script. Justin's not racist, you're racist. He's outraged at your outrage for what they would normally be outraged. It's ridiculous. I mean, there's a statement from a brown person in here saying that the school for which Justin Trudeau worked needs to be investigated. And during his apology, I can't even believe some of these statements. This is part of the reflections we all have to have on how we judge the mistakes that we've made in the past, how we take responsibility. What the fuck is this we business? I didn't fucking do it. Did you do it? What the fuck is he talking about? And during an apology on television, he said something along the lines of his white privilege. I take full responsibility, but my white privilege blinded me to this as inappropriate behavior. That's not taking responsibility. That's literally blaming the society around you. Is that a we live in a society thing? Right. That's shifting the blame. That's shifting the blame to the world in which you live, to everybody but you. But of course, no one expected. I mean, I didn't expect. I see some of his political opponents taking stabs, but this was what I expected to happen. From the group of people who would normally be outraged, who sling the racist, sexist, xenophobic, homophobic crap everywhere they go, right? But when Justin Trudeau wears blackface, forgiven. When Justin Trudeau encounters strong, independent women, he fires them for disobeying. And, he's a feminist and hashtag believe women. But when a reporter comes out and says, that guy fucking groped me, swept under the rug.
Hear the song of Slanesh.
Maybe we should talk about why.
Hear this dirge and despair.
Now, I'm sure for most of the people we would call regressive leftists or SJWs, I prefer to call them social vengeance warriors as opposed to social justice warriors, they genuinely did start off by being well-intentioned. I don't think there's anything wrong with caring about other human beings, in particular those who are down on their luck or particularly vulnerable one way or another. There are people in the world who are predators and will prey on the weak. But somehow this got mutated into something far darker. Maybe someone who was genuinely trying to help flipped their shit on somebody. And, to their astonishment, instead of being reprimanded for screeching, they were applauded. They were given stunning and braves. They were given good boy points. And it feels good. It feels good to believe you're doing something right and be destructive. And this goes to Huxley. I have the image here. The surest way to work up a crusade in favor of some good cause is to promise people they will have a chance of maltreating someone, to be able to destroy with good conscience, to be able to behave badly and call your bad behavior righteous indignation. This is the height of psychological luxury, the most delicious of moral treats. And if he's right about that, and I believe he is, I can see how that would be addictive. I can see how others who witness such an event might want those good boy points for themselves, and how they might pile on and just keep going with these kinds of attacks. And I'm starting to wonder if it takes people with bad intentions to find people with good intentions addicted to bad behavior to pave the road to hell. That they start getting this influence from, Jordan Peterson will tell you, the postmodernists who believe everything is about power, that all of the entire society is in fact the predator preying on the weak, and everybody but us is racist, everybody but us is sexist, everybody but us is homophobic and xenophobic. And it mutates them further still into John Cleese's extremists.
What we never hear about extremism is its advantages. Well, the biggest advantage of extremism is that it makes you feel good, because it provides you with enemies. Let me explain. The great thing about having enemies is that you can pretend that all the badness in the whole world is in your enemies, and all the goodness in the whole world is in you. Attractive, isn't it? So, if you have a lot of anger and resentment in you anyway, and you therefore enjoy abusing people, then you can pretend that you're only doing it because these enemies of yours are such very bad persons. And that if it wasn't for them, you'd actually be good-natured and courteous and rational all the time. So, if you want to feel good, become an extremist. Okay.
Cleese goes on to give lists of ready-made enemies. And I think that's where we are. The list of ready-made enemies exists. And putting all the bad in those people and putting all the good in themselves. That they haven't seen that this person or this group of people is racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, whatever slur they want to put. And therefore, because of those reasons, they are my enemy. And these people are not racist, not sexist, not homophobic, not xenophobic, therefore they are my friend. The lines have been drawn already. So, this is my enemy, ready-made. Therefore, I put all the bad in the world in him. Racist, sexist, xenophobic, homophobic. This is my friend, ready-made. Therefore, he can do no wrong. He cannot possibly be racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic. And when you start to really accept that idea, you realize there are no principles behind this. There is just the postmodernist thought of power and of control. And suddenly, identity politics, intersectionalism, I always forget the third one, political correctness, aren't principles on which the regressive leftists stand. They are weapons used by authoritarians to control you. To control all of us as best they can. So, no, of course they don't go after Justin Trudeau, who gropes reporters, fires strong independent women even though he claims to be a feminist. And wears blackface, right? They don't cancel him. They don't outrage him because he is their friend. You don't use your weapons on your friends. You only use them on your enemies. And the list of enemies is ready-made. And now suddenly, it's perfectly logically consistent because there's no principle. It's just power. It's just a weapon. It's just control. Well, sure, maybe there is a principle. The principle is control. How about that? Think about control as the principle, and then it makes perfect sense. Too many people are quietly sitting in the background and not addressing these idiots for using these weapons on everybody because they're afraid the weapons will be trained on them. And they've seen so many people get all these good boy points for it They think maybe they're onto something. They're being convinced. This is, Theodore Dalrymple. Hold on. In my study of communist societies, I came to the conclusion that the purpose of communist propaganda was not to persuade or convince, not to inform, but to humiliate, and therefore the less it corresponded to reality, the better. When people are forced to remain silent when they are being told the most obvious lies, or even worse, when they are forced to repeat the lies themselves, they lose once and for all their sense of probity. To assent to obvious lies is, in some small way, to become evil oneself. One's standing to resist anything is thus eroded and even destroyed. A society of emasculated liars is easy to control. I think if you examine political correctness, it has the same effect, and is intended to. It's a weapon. It's not a moral authority, it's just authority. Because when you put principles into it, it suddenly becomes senseless, nonsensical. It just doesn't work logically. Take the moral and principle out and just focus on the power and authority. And then these are highly effective tools for controlling a populace, and perfectly logically consistent.
Relevant links to shit I said in the description. Maybe. I'm Irving Twin. Like, subscribe, or don't. It's a free country.
Slaanesh is with us.
At least it used to be.
They would silence us.